Arizona, to me, I don't know what you think, it looks like the wheels have just are flying off of the car, but is this the week that they can pull them back in, or they did continue the slide, right? I mean, it's a coin flip to me.
Yeah, I kind of feel like there's some things that you're going to have to deal with in this football game. And, no Hopkins definitely will help that situation. But we'll see what happens with these other receivers that they have with Green, Wesley, Kirk, and then Moore. I kind of feel like with Moore, he's an interesting guy because of how they use him in different formations and how they use him when they want to run the football. And I mean that in a way with their, they're an offense that likes to give you what we call that eye candy, where they have a lot of orbit motions and stuff like that, where receivers are coming behind backs and things like that. So what happens is your eyes get taken away from where the ball is going. And so I'm interested. This is going to be about the Cowboys this week. This is going to be about discipline, and it's not so much the discipline too with the Kyler Murray stuff, because he's capable of just breaking big plays, but his ability as a ball handler, that's where I think your discipline is going to have to come in. If you're real anxious to crash down Tank Lawrence, or if you're Randy Gregory or any one of these defensive ends that play for the Cowboys, if you're interested in just crashing down and trying to gamble on a play, Kyler Murray's going to pull that ball and run. I mean, he had a 60 some odd yard run in that game I watched against the Colts, where he just pulled the ball and then, and it was just so open for him because everybody was flying inside to try and keep Chase Edmonds from, he thought that Chase Edmonds had the ball. So the one thing that Kyler Murray is outstanding at is that with the ball faking and stuff like that. So as far as the downfield stuff and passing game, I mean, they've struggled with that. Like I said, no Hopkins has hurt them. They're a team that likes to kind of throw the screens, and they're a right-handed screen team. I didn't see any screens that went to the left. So, we always kind of talk about how do you slow down rush? Well, they use screens a couple of different ways. They use it with their backs, but they use the Zach Ertz screen as well. You just got to be careful of him. It's, we've seen him at Philadelphia before where he fakes like he's going to block, chip, hold, and then leave. And then the ball gets out and you're already up the field and dealing with all that. So it's a couple of different ways I think they're going to try and get it either to the back or to the tight end. I think they're going to try and take a shot. Like I say, if you do it down the field, it will likely be with Christian Kirk as a vertical player. And in things underneath and the jet sweeps and stuff like that, I think Rondell Moore would be a guy that you need to kind of keep an eye on as well.
I have a question for you. How big is it if James Conner plays as opposed to if he does not play? What have you seen from him?
Well, I think James Conner is, like I say, they're both really very physical backs when you hand them the football. And, that's the thing that, when you talk about how sure you have to tackle, not only tackle Kyler Murray, but then have to deal with these backs. Like I say, a lot of the game is that it's not so much sideways. It's like the read, and then they pull, or read in hand. But yeah, I think with him, it would take that one other element of a physical back out of the game is what it would do. So I think they're both really, really good players. And I think that's, if Arizona started the game against the Colts just running the football. They said, let's just run and see what happens. And they were able to make a little traction along the way, but then got stopped and had to punt. But I kind of feel like, though, that they're going to come out, they're going to try and see if they could be physical with you, and they're going to see how disciplined you are playing defense. And, that's where this game is going to be at. I know there's people ask me, can you assign Parsons as a spy to Kyler Murray? Me personally, I think you've got enough speed on defense where you don't have to spy Kyler Murray. I think you got your speed on your ends with Tank, with Randy, with Parsons. I think you've got enough guys. Osa Odighizuwa, I think you've got enough guys to get after him. You just have to be careful where you rush with Kyler Murray, because he is going to move around in the pocket. It's much like I said this yesterday. It's much like playing against Russell Wilson. When Russell Wilson plays backwards and when he has to throw off his back foot, he doesn't get as much on the football. But when Kyler Murray could step into a throw, that's where he's at his absolute best. So to me, if you can get Kyler Murray, keep him in the pocket, and then make him play backwards, that seems to be the better thing. But I don't think you have to spy him. I think you play him straight up. You've got the speed on defense to be able to contain him and run him down. You just can't. You can't if you're not disciplined. That's where I think that's where he hurts you right there.
Bryan, is there anything we can take away from week 6 of last year? Considering how the season went and how things fell apart, do you look back at all as to how, they ran the ball all over the Cowboys, but they certainly weren't the only team to do that. Do you even think any bit about that, considering the personnel changes on defense?
Yeah, I don't think that you can really play into that. I think you need to figure out, like I say, you need to worry about some of these teams that have played, some teams that have had some success, playing against this offense. And it is a remarkably different offense, without Hopkins in that lineup. So I just, like I say, I think the Cowboys are good enough to cover on the outside. We'll see what happens with Curse and having to deal with Zach Ertz. That should be a pretty good matchup for you right there. But again, that discipline. I just say the discipline, because if you get too far up the field, he's going to duck you and he's going to run through the gap. And then that run through that gap turns into like a 60-yard run. So find a way to kind of clog those running lanes for him. Be on the right level when you rush him, but get to him quick. And I think the Cowboys can get to him quick enough with the guys that they have right now. Okay.
When you talk about Christian Kirk,
yeah,
is that the guy Trayvon Diggs will be on all day? Or do you think maybe they'll take a look at A.J. Green?
Yeah, I think I would put him on Green, and I just say because I don't think Kirk is a good guy for him to cover. To me, Kirk is the guy, the shorter, the quicker guy. That tends to give Diggs problems. So what you want to do is you maybe want to put him on a little bit of a longer, taller guy. Green makes a lot of sense right there. But again, they have to figure out, too, what they want to do. Now, this Wesley kid's a tall, long guy as well. They like to use him in certain situations. But they just, like I said, it's a group that the Cowboys, I feel like they can match them pretty well. Just don't let Rondale Moore hurt you in this game. Underneath and the routes like that. I think that's where I worry about him on the jet sweeps, the screens, and things like that. That would be a little bit of a problem with me.
Defensively,
yeah,
they don't come much better than Budda Baker.
No, Budda Baker's outstanding. And what you got to worry about Budda Baker is how much will they blitz? And with Vance Joseph and that, and how much is he willing to attack Dak Prescott in the pocket? There was a couple of times in this last game against the Colts where they just straight shot Budda Baker through the A gap, and the Colts didn't even pick him up. And then it was a hit to Carson Wentz. Ball went fluttering up in the air. It ended up being an incomplete pass, but Budda Baker came. He timed it perfect. It was unblocked. If you're the Cowboys, you have to be worried about him. I think you also have to be worried about Isaiah Simmons. Isaiah Simmons came out of Clemson a couple years ago. He plays in coverage. They use him as a blitzer. He's around the line of scrimmage quite a bit. He's a pretty physical player that they have. So him, Baker, Byron Murphy, I think the other corner, the right cornerback for them, I think is a good player. If I'm going to attack somebody, I'm going to attack Marco Wilson, the rookie corner out of Florida. He's the left corner. He's number 20. He's the guy that I would go after in this football game. But they've got a couple of guys you're going to have to block up front, too.
Marcus Golden being one of them, too.
Marcus Golden is a guy you're going to have to block up front. He can provide some pressure. Chandler Jones is going to move around, too. I don't anticipate you're very fortunate that Tyron Smith is back in the lineup, because I think with Chandler Jones moving around, they can't just say, okay, we're going to put him over the top of Terrence Steele and see what happens. They're going to have to figure out, do they want to rush Chandler Jones over Tyron Smith, or they want to do over Lyle Collins? That would be something I think that they're going to have to figure out in this game very, very early.
Now, you said something interesting. It seems obvious that the Cardinals are definitely going to blitz at times with Budda Baker, but defenses over the course of the last month have stayed away from blitzing very much with Dak Prescott. If you're the Cardinals on defense and you're scouting the Cowboys from what you saw last week, are you approaching this game any differently from what you saw from the offense against Washington?
Yeah, I think defensively, what you need to do is, are you talking about Cowboys defense first, Arizona? Or are you talking about?
I'm sorry, Arizona's defense with the Cowboys offense with how they look.
Yeah, I think that to me, they've got better edge players, and they've got better players to it, like at linebacker as well, and that's where I kind of feel like that maybe this game might hinge. I think it might hinge on like the ability to block Chandler Jones and take care of him and not allow him to wreck this game. We mentioned about Golston. Those are the two guys I'd be worried about. And I would worry about Baker being around the line of scrimmage if all of a sudden they say, listen, we're going to bring a guy and we don't think you're going to account for him. Maybe you have Tony Pollard in the game and you're thinking, okay, and Pollard's done a little bit better job of blitz pickup stuff. But I kind of feel like, though, that maybe if they will blitz him more than they would Ezekiel Elliott in this football game. That would be my approach. If you're going to blitz, if you're Arizona, I would make sure that Tony Pollard's the one that was on the field, because even though he is, like I say, he's gotten a little bit better, there's still those times where he's a little bit of a smaller guy as compared to Ezekiel Elliott.